Good morning, students. Uh, my name is CHSV Prasad Rao, and I am working as senior lecturer in EEE Department, Government Polytechnic, Yadirgutta. Today we will see AC motors. In AC motors, we will start synchronous motors. In synchronous motors, last class we covered stator and its construction. What is stator? The name only it says. The part which is stationary is called the stator. The outer surface of the synchronous motor is a stationary part and it is called stator. And the rotating part which is there on the shaft is called rotor, rotating part. So what it contains the stator? The stator contains stator frame, stator core, stator winding. So if you consider for a small machines, the field is stationary and the armature is rotating. And first it contains stator frame, stator core and stator winding. So what is the purpose of stator frame? It is the outermost part of the machine and it is made with cast iron or cast steel. Its main function is to provide the mechanical protection to the entire machine and it holds core in proper position. That means inside it contains core and the stator winding. So if you consider the stator core, how the stator core is? The stator core is laminated. So why the stator core is laminated? To reduce the losses. The laminations are performed by special magnetic iron or silicon steel having slots on the inner periphery. So in that slots we can keep the armature conductors. The whole structure is placed in the frame, stator frame, as we discussed in the last class. In the stator slots, we will provide the stator winding and it is a continuous winding. And to minimize the eddy current losses, the stator core is laminated. If the stator core is not laminated, then what happens? It produces more hysteresis and eddy current losses, and most of the power is wasted in the losses only. Then the output of the motor is very less. So we have to make the laminated core. And for a large machines, we can provide the insulation with varnish. And we can provide the cooling system also to minimize the heat. What is how the heat is produced? The heat is produced because of the losses. The losses are in the form of a heat. So in these slots, the slots are in different types. They are semi-closed type, open type, totally closed type. Depending on the application or purpose, we will design the slots. In these slots, we will keep the stator winding. These conductors are placed in the stator slots and are connected in parallel, and these windings produces EMF, and as the conductors are closed path, the current starts to flows through this one. When current is flowing through these stator conductors, then what happens? Magnetic flux is produced. So these magnetic flux passes through the core and produces rotating magnetic EMF. That last class also we covered producing of a rotating magnetic field. When we give the three-phase supply to the stator winding, three-phase stator wind, then what happened? It will produces three magnetic fields. These three magnetic fields at any instant, if we calculate the resultant flux, the combination of all these flux, how these three flux will be there? They are 180 degrees apart from each other. The resultant flux is constant and it is rotating with a synchronous speed. And what is the resultant flux? The resultant flux is 1.5 times the maximum flux. And this flux is constant throughout the angle. We derived in the last class at 0 degrees, at 60 degrees, at 120, at 180, at 240, 300, and 360 degrees. At all these degrees, if you see the resultant flux, it is constant. So what is its value? That is 1.5 times of the maximum flux. And it is rotating with synchronous speed. So what is synchronous speed? Synchronous speed is the rated speed designed for the machine, and it is denoted with capital N suffix S. So Ns is equal to 120 F by P, where F is the frequency and P is the number of poles. So this when we give the three-phase supply to the stator winding, then what happened? It produces a rotating magnetic field which is rotating with synchronous speed at all instant. We derived in the last class at any instant at 45 degrees, at 60 degrees, at 90 degrees, at 150 degrees, whatever is the angle, the resultant flux is constant. That is 1.5 times of the maximum flux, and it is rotating with synchronous speed. So this is covered stator and its construction. Next one is types of rotors and construction. What are the types of rotors? For synchronous motor, we have two types of rotors. One is salient pole rotor and another one is non-salient pole rotor. So if we consider salient pole rotor, so let us see what is rotor. A rotor is a rotating part which rotates on the shaft. Where it is kept? It is kept on the shaft. Shaft is rotating between the bearings. On this shaft, we have the rotor. On this rotor, on the outer periphery of the rotor, we have the slots. On these slots, we have the rotor winding. And it contains the field winding also. Field excitation also provided on this shaft only. The shaft contain slip rings. Through slip rings, we can provide the DC excitation to the field, and on the shaft it contains the rotor core. It is a laminated core to reduce the losses, and this rotor contains the slots on the outer periphery. On these slots we will provide the armature winding, and the excitation is given through the ex- uh, slip rings which are placed on the rotor shaft. So what are the types of rotors? There are two types of rotors. First one is salient pole rotor, and next one is non-salient pole rotor or smooth cylindrical rotor. So if you see the features of salient pole rotor, it is the salient pole rotor is used for low speed and medium speed. As you know, when the speed is reduces, what about the number of poles? Yes, the number of poles is more, and it is used for Kaplan turbine. And if you the next one is non-salient pole, or it is also called, what is the another name? Smooth cylindrical type rotor. It is used for high speed rotors, that is 3000 and 1500 rpm. As we know, as the speed is high, the rotor poles are less, that is 2 or 4 poles, and it is used for Pelton wheel. So if you consider the salient pole rotor, it is used for low and medium speed machines. The rotor poles are made with steel laminations, and it is fixed to the rotor. The rotor poles contains the slots, and the slots contains the damper winding. The damper windings are short circuited at both end rings, as we shown in the last class. Figures also be shown. These dampers are why the damper winding is used? The damper winding is to prevent the hunting. And we last class we covered what is the disadvantage of a synchronous motor. This hunting also one of the phenomena, objectional phenomena for synchronous motor. What is hunting? Hunting is produced when the load is pulsating. That is, load is varying. When the load is varying, then what happened? The speed also varying, and the frequency is pulsating. So because of that, then what happened? The speed is changes. If the fluctuations of the speed is more, then what happened? The motor will comes out of the synchronism. That is the magnetic locking between the rotor and the stator magnetic poles, and the motors stops. So to prevent this hunting, the disadvantage of synchronous motor is it contains the hunting phenomena also. How we can prevent this hunting? By providing this damper winding. How the damper winding is connected? This is connected to the rotor poles. And another advantage of this stator damper winding is it provides the high starting torque at the time of starting. And how it is connected? It is connected in series with the field winding, and the DC excitation is given through two slip rings. So where the salient pole motor is used, as we discussed just now, we covered, they have the, what is the property of this one? They have the large diameter and short axial length. So the pole shoe covers two-thirds of the pole pitch. And as we know, to reduce the eddy current losses, the poles are laminated. The poles are not laminated, then what happened? It produces very high losses. The losses are in the form of heat. Because of this heat, it spoils the insulation of the conductor, which burns the motor winding. And another disadvantage is the output also less. If all the power is wasted in the losses, the output also less. And these rotors are employed for hydraulic turbines or DC engines. So that is the another feature of this salient pole rotor. So and what is the next type? The next type is non-salient pole rotor. So what is the another name of this non-salient pole motor? That is the smooth cylinder type rotor. So where it is used? It is used for very high speed synchronous motors. So where we will use high speed? In steam turbines we will use. So what it contains? It is made with steel cylinder having slots on the outer periphery. And as just now as we told, it is used for high speed. When we require high speed, whatever the poles will be less. So the speed will be 3000 to 1500 rpm. So the poles will be less. That is, two poles are four poles. So if you see the properties of these smooth cylinder rotor or non-salient rotor, they are have small diameter and very long axial length. And another advantage of this one is it has less windage losses, and it is used for high speed, that is 3000 to 1500 rpm. So this one we covered in the last class. Rotors. So salient rotor and non-salient rotor. And it contains the slip rings also. We covered slip rings also. Where the slip rings are there, slip rings are placed on the shaft. By using these slip rings, we can give the DC excitation. On these slip rings, we have the brushes also. Where the brushes are placed, the brushes are placed in the brush holders. And these brushes are made with carbon carbon material, so that the losses will be brush losses will be less, that is 1 volt per brush or less than 1 volt per brush. So these things we covered in the last class. We covered salient and non-salient poles also. And if you see the differences, we covered differences also. The construction is very difficult for salient pole. The construction is easy for non-salient pole. And salient pole is used for low and medium speeds, and non-salient pole is used for high speeds. And whereas salient pole, the diameter is large, and non-salient pole, the diameter is less. And the salient pole contains a more number of poles. The non-salient pole contains 2 or 4 poles only. In salient pole, the flux is not uniform. Whereas if you consider a non-salient pole, the flux is uniform. So these things we covered in the last class. Today we will see the operation, the working principle of synchronous motor, methods of starting, and characteristics of synchronous motor. In principal operation, we will discuss how the motor will start, how it will rotates. In starting methods, as we know, as we covered in the last class, the synchronous motor is not self-starting. So we will check the starting methods also, and characteristics of synchronous motor also we will learn today. So how it before starting the synchronous motor working principle, let us consider a stator, two pole stator, and it is designed. It is here we consider only two poles for understanding purpose. So it is designed for two poles, that is the north and south pole. So we have the magnetic property, like poles repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. The construction of synchronous motor is similar to the alternator. As shown in figure, when we give a three-phase supply to a three-phase stator winding, then what happened? Then a rotating magnetic field of constant magnitude is produced. Here, as shown in figure, as I am showing this one is both poles. Here, two poles are produced. One is on the stator magnetic field, and another one is rotor poles. Stator poles and the rotor poles. They have the force of attraction between the two poles. And how it will rotate synchronous speed, the two poles, stator magnetic field poles and rotor poles will get magnetic lack each other and starts rotating at synchronous speed, as shown in figure. If one magnet is rotated, the other one also starts rotating. Why? Because these two are magnetically locked. If you say this N is the, as shown in figure, this is the magnetic magnetic pole, and this one is the rotor pole. And these magnetic poles, which are produced by the stator, is rotating with synchronous speed. So when these two are magnetic lock each other, when these poles are rotating at synchronous speed, automatically the rotor also rotates at synchronous speed. This is the main working principle of synchronous motor. Let us discuss in detail. When three-phase supply is given to the three-phase stator winding, then it produces a rotating magnetic field. The rotating magnetic field, what is the magnitude? It is constant. We derived in the last class. That is, one resultant flux is 1.5 times the maximum flux and rotating at synchronous speed. As shown in the last figure. Here it is as shown in the last figure. Suppose if you see here, this is north pole and this is south pole, and this is south and north pole of the stator poles. So here what happened, if assume the stator winding is wound for two poles ns and ss as shown in figure, and rotates in a clockwise direction. Rotates in a clockwise direction as shown in figure. Here it is showing the figure. Here it shows the figure. This is the rotor wound with, this is the shaft, this is the brushes. It is contains the field winding. The field winding is given DC excitation, and when this is the damper winding, all damper winding are connected in series. And this one is the stator frame, laminated stator frame. It contains the slots on the inner periphery where we have the stator winding. When we connect the supply, this is the terminal box. These stator winding are bought out and it is connected to the supply. When it is connected to the supply, then what happened, the current is start flowing through the stator winding, and it produces a rotating magnetic field. Flux is produced and the resultant flux is 1.5 times the maximum flux, and it produces the magnetic poles which is rotating in a clockwise direction. So this is the rotor how it is shown, and this is the keyhole to lift the synchronous motor. So here it is showing how the rotors, see here it is ns, ss. Again it is changing. That means every rotation it is changing. As shown in figure, the two similar poles ns and n, as well as south pole of the stator and south pole of the rotor, though like poles will repel each other. So here what happened, here is north pole, north pole, here south pole, south pole, north pole of the stator, north pole of the rotor, south pole of the rotor and south pole of the stator. So both are comes like this. Then what happened, the like poles will repel each other. As a result, what happened? The rotor will tries to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. But half a period later, when the rotor reaches to is 50% of the half of the rotation, the stator poles also rotated in by interchanging this position. If it is has north pole on the top and south pole at the bottom, it will changes. South pole at the top and north pole at the bottom. So under these condition, then what happened? North pole and south pole attract each other. South pole and north pole will attract each other. That is called the magnetic locking. The magnetic locking is produced between the stator magnetic poles and rotor poles. When magnetic locking happens, then what happened? As the rotor stator magnetic poles are rotating automatically, which the rotor poles which are locked with the stator magnetic poles also starts rotating and produces a torque in one direction. When it starts produces the torque, it produces current. And suppose the rotor is rotated near the synchronous speed, so here like this it has to start. So then what happened here? It is what is happening, before it north pole reaches to south pole. Again south pole reaches to north pole. It is reflecting each other. So the motor rotor is fluctuating. So to make the motor self-starting, to always we have to start. What we have to do? As stator poles are rotating at synchronous speed, we have to use some external rotor to rotate this rotor also near to the synchronous speed. So then what happened, the stator poles are rotating at synchronous speed and the rotor is rotating at synchronous speed. So at particular instant, at particular point, then what happened? These two, the rotor poles and the stator magnetic poles will lock each other and starts rotating at synchronous speed. So before that, what we have to do? The rotor is rotated near the synchronous speed by external motor or any other element, and at the same time the rotor winding is switched on. Then the stator and the rotor poles attract each other. When they are attract each other, then what happened? And they starts rotating continuously at synchronous speed in clockwise direction. So what is the synchronous speed? Synchronous speed is 120 f by p, as shown in figure. Like this, both are gets magnetic lock each other and starts rotating. The stator poles rotate at constant speed. What about the rotor? Then when the rotor is rotated near the synchronous speed, and when we give the DC excitation to the rotor winding, the rotor poles become powerful electromagnets like stator poles. So as both are rotating near to the synchronous speed at particular instant, both the stator poles and the rotor poles will attract each other and they got locked each other. That is called this locking. The stator pole and rotor poles attract each other and lock each other. This locking system is called magnetic locking. So because of this magnetic locking, the rotor starts rotates at a synchronous speed. So, so that's why either the synchronous motor runs at a synchronous speed or it will stop. As the motor is running at synchronous speed, so this motor is called synchronous motor, and it is not a self-starting motor. So why? Because of this one, as the rotor poles are rotating at every half cycle, so automatically the stator and the rotor poles are repel each other. So it is not going to be start at the initial. So what we have to do? We have to start the rotor near to the synchronous speed by using some external DC motor or small AC motor. So nowadays, what they are doing, they are providing this damper winding on the rotor to make the synchronous motor self-starting. I think it is everyone understood this one, how the motor is working and how it is started, why the synchronous motor is not self-starting. So when we give the three-phase supply to the armature winding, it established a constant magnitude rotating at a synchronous speed. So as shown in figure, these two poles are, these are the magnetic poles, this is the rotor poles. Both. Now you see here, both here north pole and north pole, they will repel each other. They will repel each other. Then what happened? The rotor will rotate clockwise. Before the north pole reaches at the bottom, the magnetic poles of the stator also changes. South pole comes here, north pole comes here. Then automatically again it repel each other. North north repels and south south repels. Because of that one, the rotor is fluctuating here as shown in figure. So that means pulsating torque is produced. This torque, the torque produced at this instant is called pulsating torque. So because of this pulsating torque, the motor is not possible to start. So what we have to do? We have to, how do we have to start? Once again, I am repeating. The stator poles, when we give the three-phase supply, here it is showing the terminal box. Here we will give the supply, and this supply is given to the stator winding. These are the stator winding. And then when we give the three-phase supply to the stator winding, the three phases, each phase will produce as a magnetic field. And this magnetic field is three individual, and these magnet fields are 120 degrees apart from each other. And these are three are sinusoidal waves. And if we combine these three fluxes, we will get the resultant flux which is constant at any instant, and its value is 1.5 times the maximum flux, and it is rotating at a synchronous speed. So because of this flux, it produces a magnetic poles on the stator. Magnetic poles on the stator. So as shown in figure, at particular instant of half of the period, ns ns at point A, ss at point A, nr at point A, and sr at B. So then what happened? North pole ns and nr at point A, it has ns and nr. Both are will repel each other. And at point B, it has ss and sr. South pole of rotor, south pole of rotor repel each other. At point A, south pole of north pole of stator and north pole of rotor will repel each other. Because of this tendency, the motor is not possible to start. So it is called the pulsating torque here. So in the half cycle, before in the positive half cycle like that, in the negative half cycle it is change. At point 8, south pole it comes, and B north pole. Again A at north pole and B at south pole. So because of this reason, it is not possible to rotate. Here it is showing two poles only, north and south pole. So how we can start? So we have to the stator poles, for a stator winding we have to give the three phase supply. When we give the three phase supply, rotating magnetic field is produced, and which rotates at a synchronous speed. Then the rotor is rotated at a synchronous speed by external motor. Either you can use DC motor or any small pony motor. And when the rotor speed reaches near to the synchronous speed, the rotor winding is switched on to the DC supply. When we give the DC supply to the rotor winding, the rotor poles becomes powerful electromagnets like stator poles. Because both the poles are rotating in one direction, the stator and the rotor poles attract each other or lock each other and rotates in one direction with the same speed, that is synchronous speed. So this locking of stator poles and the rotor poles is called magnetic locking. So that's why the synchronous motor is not self starting. Synchronous motor is this figure shows how the rotor poles are changing. See here, when the rotor reaches here, the north pole also coming here. Then automatically this north pole of the rotor and this one repel each other. This one shows the DC excitation to the rotor winding, and this one is the field winding stator three phase supply. As I just now I shown in the previous slide, it contains a terminal box. Through this terminal box we can give the three phase supply. And here this one is the stator winding, and this one is the salient pole rotor. So at every off cycle the poles are changing. So because of that one, the motor is not self starting. See here, it is showing how it is changing the north pole and south pole. It is at repel each other. When the north pole reaches the down of the rotor, the stator poles also rotating and reaches here. See here, north pole reached here. So again, the north pole of the rotor and the north pole of the stator both repel each other, and it is rotating in a clockwise direction. So that means the rotor is pulsating, that is fluctuating between these two poles. It is not possible to start. It is not producing. So when we rotate with some external means near to the synchronous speed, here this figure shows they both got magnetic locking. South pole of the stator and north pole of the rotor, and at the bottom, south pole of the rotor and north pole of the stator, both are magnetically locked each other. Then what happened when they are magnetically locked? It starts rotating at a synchronous speed. Why? Because the stator poles are rotating at a synchronous speed. Automatically, it is attracted with the stator poles. The rotor also starts rotating. So, at the time of if it is not there, it produces the pulsating torque. So this is the how the working principle of synchronous motor. So this here we covered why the synchronous motor is not self-starting, and how to what we have to do make the motor self-starting, what is magnetic locking, and when we learned when we give the three-phase supply to the stator, what it produces a magnetic flux which is rotating in nature, and its magnitude is constant. What is the magnitude? That is 1.5 times the maximum flux, and rotating with synchronous speed is produced. And next, if you see the starting of a synchronous motor, how we can start? As we discussed, we have to give the three-phase supply to the stator winding, and the rotor is rotated near the synchronous speed by using, see here it is showing some another external arrangement is connected to the shaft. Here what he is doing, the rotor is not rotating the rotor. Why? Why? Because it is a closed frame. In the outside we have only the shaft. The shaft is coupled with another DC motor or pony motor, and the shaft is rotated near the synchronous speed. Then what happened when the shaft is rotated at synchronous speed? When the shaft is rotated at synchronous speed, automatically the rotor which is connected or molded on the shaft also rotates at near to the synchronous speed. So this is the figure how the it is coupled. It is mechanically coupled. The shaft is mechanically coupled, and it starts rotating. See here how it is rotating. First they connected this arrow shows some external element is made to the shaft. The shaft is rotated with synchronous speed. When it is rotating at synchronous speed, some magnetic locking will be occurred between these two stator poles and the rotor poles, and it starts rotating at synchronous speed. This is this is a beautiful picture how it is showing rotation of the rotor. So likewise, after getting the magnetic locking, it starts rotating. And here this one shows the DC excitation is given like here. You can see positive negative DC supply that is given to the field excitation. Here it is showing the terminal box. Here we are giving the three-phase supply, and the three-phase supply is given to the stator winding. So likewise, the rotor is rotating. This one on the rotor poles, we have the damper winding. The damper windings are short circuited. You can see clearly in the picture. This is the shaft. This is the bearings, slip rings. On these slip rings, these two parts, top and the bottom, these two are the brushes. On this rotor pole, we have the rotor winding, and this rotor winding is connected to DC supply. If you study this one and if you observe the figure, you can clearly understand how the motor is working. This shows the EMF which is produced in the armature. So as a motor, as you know, it produces the back EMF. Every motor produces the back EMF, and that is EB. What is the formula? Where the EB depends? EB is the back EMF. It depends. What is the formula? It is pi PN Z by 60A. So the back EMF depends on the flux, number of poles, and the speed of the rotor and the frequency. So on these factors, the back EMF is produced, which is produced in the armature, and this back EMF, which is produced at the armature, is always opposing the supply voltage. So the difference of these two, supply voltage and the back EMF, that gives the resultant voltage which is available at the armature. So V is the supply voltage, EB is the back EMF, EB. So EB value depends on the, and its formula is EB is equal to 120 F by P. EB is, F means frequency, N means speed, P means number of poles, and pi means flux. So depending on these factors, the back EMF is produced, and this back EMF is opposing the supply voltage. So the resultant voltage, that is the difference between the supply voltage and the back EMF, that is available at the armature. So if you require the armature current, what we will do? We will divide this armature voltage VA by impedance of the armature, which is written as ZA. Why? Because the armature contains both armature resistance and synchronous reactance. So armature impedance is the combination of armature resistance and synchronous reactance. So IA is the current, ZA is the armature flux, armature impedance, Ra is the armature resistance, XS is the synchronous reactance. It is a combination of, XS is a combination of armature resistance and leakage reactance as shown in figure. So by using these formulas, we can solve simple problems also, which sometimes he will give to calculate the armature resistance or synchronous reactance or armature current or armature voltage. So what is the performance of synchronous motor on load? It rotates at a clockwise direction, and when the torque produced, the torque is produced when both are attract each other and uh, rotate at a synchronous speed. So these are the points. The rotor is subjected to torque, which tend to move it first in one direction, then in the opposite direction. So to overcome this, what we have to do? We have to rotate the rotor with some external means, some by using some external motor, so that it rotates at a synchronous speed. So because of this reversing torque, the motor is stationary and it is not self-starting. So why the motor is not self-starting, and how, why means this is the reason. At every off cycle, the rotor direction is changing. First it will in first half cycle it will rotate in clockwise, and another half cycle it will rotate in anti-clockwise. So because of this torque, it will produce a torque which is in a reverse direction. Because of this reversing torque, the rotor is stationary and the motor is not self-starting. So how to we make means, we have to, this is shows the magnetic locking. When it got the magnetic locking, the rotor will rotates like this. So these are the windings which are placed on the stator. A dash. This is the starting winding, ending winding of one winding, and B and B dash, starting and ending. Next C and C dash. These are the stator winding, and this one is the rotor which is rotating like this in anti-clockwise direction. So what are the methods of starting means? As we discussed, first we have to The shaft is mechanically coupled with some other external rotor, and when we rotate this near to the synchronous speed, both will get magnetic lock each other, and the motor starts rotating at synchronous speed. So if you see the characteristics, what are the characteristics the synchronous motor has? The synchronous motor runs at synchronous speed only. Otherwise the motor will start, and it can operate at any wide range of power factor. That means it will operate at lagging and leading power factor and unity power factor also. And next one is it is not self starting. So, what we learned today in 1 hour class, we learned what is the working principle of synchronous motor, why it is not self-starting. Why it is not self-starting means at every off cycle the rotor produces the rotor poles are also rotating. North pole, south pole. Again in the other off cycle, south pole and the north pole. As we know, like poles are repel each other, and because of this phenomena the rotor poles are not possible to rotate in any direction, just it is fluctuating between in the middle. So because of that one it produces a reversing torque and the speed is 0. So how we can make this one is self-starting? We have to connect the shaft with some external motor, that is a small DC motor or a pony motor. And when we rotate the shaft near to the synchronous speed, then what happened? Automatically the rotor, which is molded on the shaft, also starts rotating at a synchronous speed. The rotor is rotating at synchronous speed, and the stator magnetic poles also rotating at a synchronous speed. Because the both poles are rotating in one direction, the stator and the rotor poles attract each other, or we can say in technically lock each other and rotate in one direction with the same speed. This locking is called magnetic locking. What is magnetic? Sometimes he will give for 1 mark. What is magnetic locking? The attraction of stator poles and the rotor poles is called magnetic locking, and it starts rotate in synchronous speed only. So that is the characteristics of synchronous motor. Either it will, so this is the method of starting, and what is the characteristics? Either it will run at synchronous speed or it will stop. Always it run at a synchronous speed. And another thing is it can be operated at a wide range of power factor. That is, it can be operated both lagging and leading power factor and unity power factor also. And another characteristics is it is not a self-starting. It is not a self-starting. I hope you understand all the points what we told. If you have any doubt, you ask me in the next class. Okay, students? Okay. Thank you.